Well, let's do a crossover to London now for an opening call with Juliana Olainka. Good morning, Juliana.
Good morning, Chimazé.
Now, the first human trial in Europe of a coronavirus vaccine has begun in Oxford. What hope has that offered for the markets and, of course, for businesses?
Well, this astonishing news was first announced on Tuesday afternoon by the British Health Secretary, Matt Hancock. As you can imagine, considering we're nearing 20,000 deaths here in the UK, one of the worst death rates for coronavirus in the world. The British government are under increasing pressure, and we know that there's a huge scramble with major G7 countries as well as all other countries are trying to find a vaccine. Most of the discussion in the UK had been based around PPE and testing, and so this did come as a surprise to many that two universities and scientists at Oxford University as well as Imperial College London were very close to trialling this vaccine, and Oxford were the first to do it. They started yesterday. As soon as this was announced on Tuesday, on Wednesday, considering we were living around this oil volatility in the markets, it didn't really suffer the FTSE because there was hope that Britain could potentially be the first country to develop a vaccine. But we are being warned that, of course, especially at such early stages, a vaccine is a trial and error and try again. And that's exactly the commentary that's coming out of Oxford yesterday. A bunch of healthy individuals were giving this jab in their arm, and they are expected over the next couple of days to have flu-like symptoms. We don't know whether or not it will work. If it does work, we're being told that by June, all frontline workers within the NHS would be given access to the vaccine, and by September there could be 1 million doses. But again, you know, this is still very, very early days, but it's good news. In terms of Imperial College London, they said that they'll have a vaccine ready by the end of the year. So there certainly is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's just how long you can get to that light, how soon.
Let's just hope it works eventually. Anyway, Stars and Royals have helped to raise about £27 million on BBC charity show. What specific cause will the money be channeled to?
Well, this money will be going to those who are suffering from the consequences of COVID-19, particularly those who are very vulnerable. As we all know, because we're all going through it, there are so many issues that are coming from the lockdown, from the illness, from being separated from loved ones. And Britain is indeed a very charitable nation. There are tens of thousands of charities. For those of us who live in the UK, we'll be used to these kind of big BBC broadcast nights that usually run for hours and hours upon end. They have lots of celebrities and the royal family come in. And this was a combination of two very popular BBC charitable events, one being Comic Relief, or Red Nose Day, as people will be familiar with, and the other is Children in Need. And so they did pull out all the stops, and £27 million was raised. There are so many charities and so many organisations in the UK that are raising millions, just short of billions of pounds. And I must say, there is an older gentleman who used to be a war veteran who has been walking around his garden. He's over 100 years of age. That is what is dominating headlines in terms of gaining money. And I think at the last count, he's raised over £30 million. So everybody is doing whatever they can to give back to people who need it most.
That's interesting. Anyway, there's this report by a global disaster recovery group saying that when economies eventually reopen, many businesses will stay shut as they struggle with a new environment. So how is the UK businesses digesting this report, and what plans are they putting out for a new normal?
Well, the new normal, gosh, that's a big phrase that a lot of Brits are trying to rack their heads around, because as it stands at the moment, the government are being very, very quiet on what lockdown measures we can expect, or how they will be lifting the lockdown measures. A lot of people are suggesting that this could be because of the stay home, save the NHS. That is the slogan every single individual in Britain is being, awash with all day, every day. Stay home, save the NHS. So the government are fearful of talking about a lockdown because it may seem as if the messaging is being mixed, and there are lots of accusation that there was so much mixed messaging coming from the government before the lockdown took place. What we are hearing is that potentially the government will be asking city workers and people that work in central London to perhaps start changing the shift. So 9 to 5 may not be 9 to 5 anymore. They may say that they expect half of the city to start work at 9. Some will start work at 1 p.m. rather than everybody working Monday to Friday. They may want to extend office hours over the weekend to stop the millions of people using the underground. Also, as well, the unfortunate problem with businesses is that if you've got quite a tight store, then you cannot adhere to social distancing. And we know because of Professor Chris Whitty, the Chief Medical Officer of Public Health England, he has said until we have a vaccine that we know that works, there has to be some level of social distancing. If your store can't do that, then you can't get people in. So there are various things that the government are working on to try and protect the individuals. But of course, the economy is the bane of that. And they do want to get people back at work. But officially, we're still not being told anything about the government in terms of what a lockdown restriction may look like come May 7th, when the 3-week review will be up for review again. Jenny.
All right, thank you, Juliana. See you later for more updates.